your childhood family tradition?
Okay, our childhood family, this is my, we didn't have traditions. We had, but we did have, yeah, kind of even that was, yeah, we didn't have traditions, but we had activities that my sister and I made up that we had, and we were pretty much free-range kids. So our mom worked somewhere at the chicken farm, or she had fill-in jobs, so she was out of the home quite a bit. So the kid, and we had stepbrothers that came into the family, that when my stepdad came into the picture, so he brought with him later on two basically juvenile delinquent brothers who actually they took care of us, not well, but we had some real fun activities with them, and my mother would often
they were quite a bit older. How much older were they?
6, 7 years older, maybe my one brother was maybe 15, because he went into the service he was only in school for a little while in Rochester. So they came into the picture, and one of our favorite things, my brothers had friends that had just a framework of a car. There was no seat. It was just a framework, and you had to kind of sit and hold on to the wire thing, so Janice and I, we were pretty young. Maybe Janice was 4, I might have been almost 6, because there's almost 2 years between us, and the boys had this big area where they ran, and they jumped the cars so you could go across ditches and go around, and of course the brothers put us in this open thing on top of where the tires were. It had a fender, and then you held on to the framework, and then they took us around this big field, and they had jumps and water and all kinds of stuff, and we just thought that was so heavenly. We loved that. We laughed and everything. And then when my mom came home, she found out what had gone on and just threw a major fit at the boys, because that was very dangerous for them to do that. Nothing happened to us, and we just was one of the highlights of our childhood to do that all day, pretty much all day. We just drove around there and jumps and all that kind of stuff. So that was but the brothers were supposed to take care of us, but they didn't do a very good job of it. But we didn't have, what did we say here?
Traditions.
We didn't have much in the way of traditions, but Janice and I, we had our little things that we instilled in our own little lives. First thing was the picking of the strawberries, the wild strawberries, and then the next, so we'd pick every berry in sight. We had our own, we picked our fields, and depending on whether my sister got a better field than I did, I would trick her into trading or to bribe her with something else in order to do it. And then we gathered nuts, hazelnuts. We played in the creek. We would catch the bullheads to bring home for the cats, and the cats would eat maybe one of them, and just, they turned their noses up. So we had dead fish around, which my mom did not appreciate. So that was the kind of thing that we did. We enjoyed it. We didn't have any real traditions at all, and that made me have every tradition known to mankind as in our family.
Yeah, as far as our family, Mom was really deep into traditions of, she came from Finland in 1939, and so into a Swedish family, so we always had lutefisk on Christmas Eve. We opened our Christmas presents on Christmas Eve. So that was done every year, and Marla kind of keeps doing that, which I enjoy. It's something that is a little bit unique. Other traditions, we always had a family picnic in the summertime, which involved two of my uncles. Of Dad's family, there were 6, but by the time I was there was only 3 of the brothers that were left. And so we had family picnics often at Deep Lake or Long Lake, where they'd come from Tacoma or from the Grays Harbor or from Eastern Washington, and have the family picnic, and we'd spend the whole day basically there. I remember one year, Dad saved a kid's life at Deep Lake.
Wow.
He was on the back. His friends were in a rowboat, and he was hanging onto the back of the rowboat as they were paddling away, and they thought it would be great just to go real fast and drop him, and they did. And he couldn't swim that well, and he was tired, and he went down, and so they started screaming. And I remember we were up on the beach next to the long walk that goes out, and Dad goes running down the long walk and dove in and pulled him up from the bottom and brought him to shore. And all I remember is Dad goes, "Oh, my watch is full of water and my billfold is wet."
But he did save the kid's life.
He did save the kid's life, but that's what I remember. So he drove home from Deep Lake, changed his clothes, and came on back. And I remember his watch was torn apart and sitting on top of our wood stove for a long time, drying out. And it eventually dried out, and he oiled it, and he carried it for years. So that's about the traditions we had.